Hello, today we are going into a case study for TestFox. Going to be sharing screen. I'm going to jump right in. So for this case study, we are starting with a website that has about 40 tests right now. It's the Fountain City website. It has a chat system, but the positioning was refined in 2025. And then we needed to do new training and revalidating that the system is still working. We also wanted to add some additional tests for the EU AI Act. And so we wanted to add at least a few tests to make sure that the AI agent is, for example, declaring themselves to be an AI assistant and not a human. And also when they're asked that they respond back that yes, they are a robot and so forth. So things that are part of the EU AI Act. So what is the plan in order to do this kind of thing? So we need to first generate a bunch of tests. This video is not going to go into that, but that is an important step of generating the tests that you want to run. Getting that baseline execution on your new test to see how your robot is doing. Identifying areas that need to be fixed. You apply the fix, you rerun the tests after you've done a fix or two or a bunch, and then you analyze those results. And then if you need to, you go back, see what else needs to be fixed and so forth. So you're kind of iterating through until you're done, right? You're ready to release. You give the go flag if you're in a team. This would be maybe the QA team that's analyzing the AI system that it's ready for production or ready for release of the new version. So we added 60 new tests across these categories. So compliance, liability, sales, knowledge, and support. And then as we did this new test, so you can see here in this line, this was the prior state of the system, relatively stable with not a lot of failures, which is the red line. Then we started adding new tests, ran them, got a lot of failures. We did do the test-driven development, meaning that we were running tests and then seeing what, well, in this case, test-driven development in the sense of more like problem-led development, right? We ran the new chatbot on the website data that had been changed, ran the new tests, most of them, a lot of them failing, included a lot of old ones that used to be passing or failing. And so then we did already a few batch fixes, realized we needed even more tests, added some more while we did fixes in place, got it to start going down. This is not the end of the chart, but this is kind of where we're at, where we added about 60 new tests. So before I show the tool and kind of work through this case study and how it looks in TestFox, the software, just a quick overview of the structure of how it works. So our system, TestFox, sends a query, which is basically a question or prompt to the AI system in question. In this case, it's the Fountain City website that we're testing. We get back an answer. We evaluate that answer against what the expected answer should be. This could be literal match, or it could be a loose match coupling. It depends on you how tightly you want to make that evaluation work. And then there's a score that's given with that evaluation so that we can see if a test is passing or not. So if you're getting a failure in the evaluation, most of the time, the solution is something needs to be addressed in the AI system that we're testing. That could be an improvement of your knowledge, or it could be a change in how the system is working that goes beyond this video. But you're fixing your AI system. But sometimes it's a problem that needs to be addressed in the question itself, because actually maybe the answer is good. The evaluation is evaluating, so you're getting or maybe you're getting the wrong answer because the way you're asking the question is maybe a leading question. We need to improve that. Sometimes that's what needs to happen. Or sometimes it's the expected answer criteria that needs to change. This would be if you're asking a question, you get the answer, and upon review, it sounds like actually the answer is better than what we were evaluating for. And it's the evaluation criteria that needs to be matched to match the answer. So this would be more like a false negative, right? Because it was failing falsely and it should actually be positive. So once you figure out how to fix it, you rerun that test, you're going to get a match through. The evaluation is going to show a pass. There is another kind of test you can do as well, which is just more steps in it. But instead of doing a single pass test, we can do, or single turn, you can do multi-turn tests as well with TestFox. So that would be setting up a scenario or a goal. And then our AI system or our test system then goes off to your chatbot or your AI system to test it, but it will have a goal in mind as opposed to a one question, one answer. And then it will send several prompts in a conversation with the AI system we're testing, and then we'll evaluate that conversation. And then if that conversation met its goal, then we will give it a score. But you can also test for things like memory. Does the AI system forget the topic that you're talking about? If you're talking about one product and then switch in the conversation to another product, does the AI system we're testing switch the conversation correctly to that new one? If you were to ask then at the end of that a question again about the first one, can it remember that you were talking about that? We can also test for all kinds of things in a multi-turn test. Those are better for personality tests as well. For example, if you want to see, is the AI the chat system being helpful? Is it short? Is it concise? Is it way too verbose? Things like that you can test for as well. Okay, so with that in mind, so this is what the TestFox framework looks like. So there is a different video that goes into the whole kind of setup. So here I'm just more focusing on this actual situation. So this is kind of the end state where we have a lot of tests that are now passing. They're grouped by priority right now, so critical, high, and so forth. But we also have the categories here that we can group by. Now, under this report area, we can see that the burn down chart for the project started off here, and then as we kept going, we started adding more, and then we did a few extra batches. So we did one fixed batch here, where we started getting a lot more passes, even though we added a lot more tests. And then here, in these last 2 rounds, we got our last set of passes through. And at this point, we have 105 tests passed and 0 failed. So this is really good. Maybe in your situation, you're fine with some low priority issues failing. So we can see here, this is the burn down, but we have in the summary, we have them grouped by priority. Right now they're all passing. So there's this 0 at the top means that there's no failures, 0 fails across these categories. And if you may also want to see them by category. So here we can see, just our knowledge-based tests or tests around jailbreaking or compliance. Here was the compliance. Can I talk to a human? I want to stop using AI. How does the system respond? Some of these tests are only 60%. 60% is still a pass, but this could be an area that you may want to improve further. 60% is right on the edge, right? So maybe there could be some improvements to be made. They're not hard fails. And if you want to know more about that, we can click on one of these and then read, here is the prompt, the agent response, the expected response, and then the evaluation so that you understand why it scored this kind of a score that you got. So that is basically it for the process. How we're running that between each of them. There is these runs that we do. So each of these runs we can see here, we got the full pass. Here we had 4 fails. And you can see in the ID, when is it run, what is it's completed. And in this case, we were running 4 final tests because we only had 4 failures that we needed to address on that last run. But you can see here on this one, we ran 19, right? So we were burning down with less and less tests that needed to be run. That's it. If you have any questions about this or anything you want to know more about or don't understand from this little quick tour, let me know. Hopefully this gives you a sense of TestFox and what it does. Thank you for watching.